commentary probably about 5 days a week, and doing it live at the beginning of our live shows, starting out with an episode of this. So you can look forward to more almost daily, 5 days a week. So today's subject is, how do I start my business? And this is one of the things that is asked of me a lot. When I say a lot, it is probably the most common question that I get, but it's very ambiguous. It kind of doesn't really, what does it mean? How do I start my business? What is your business about? And so specifically, I got this question from one of my viewers who is doing micro manufacturing, but he wants to know, how do you start something online? How do you get it going? And so I'm glad that you mentioned that you're doing micro manufacturing. And micro manufacturing, by the way, I had to look up what it was, but basically it's manufacturing on a smaller scale, typically 5 employees or less. So it could be just on your own. And this could be done with like 3D printing or something else. It could be woodworking. You could be making chairs, something like that. But it's about manufacturing. Anyway, as far as how to start your business, there's a couple of things that first come to mind, which are that, it's such an open-ended question, and there's many different types of people in business. There's innovators, there's creators, there's evaluators, and there's action takers. These are the 4 types. You are one of these types primarily, and you may be a combination of up to 3 of them, but you are one of these types. And everybody who's an entrepreneur who's successful has action included in it, because if you don't take any action, nothing happens. You can have all the greatest plans in the world, but if you don't execute, nothing happens. You're not an entrepreneur if you don't produce nothing. You may think so in your mind, but you're not. So action is very, very important. Myself, I am primarily creative, is where I fall into. I have a little bit of innovative, and I have action. My evaluation, I always need help on that because I'm not very good at it. And this is where going into business with someone else who is an evaluator, for me, works out. It's hard, but it works out. And, so other people, you need all of this stuff. Okay, so now let's say that you've just graduated school and you're like, I'm fully trained. I've got my degree in business administration or whatever, and I'm going to go forth and make a business. Okay, what is this business going to be about? And that's the number one question that I get. People saying, what kind of business should I make? Well, I can't answer that for you. And there's some things going on with that question that I think are very, very important. So if you say, I'm going to be an entrepreneur, I'm going to go into business so I can be filthy rich, well, you're probably not going to be very successful unless you are like a investment banker, or someone who you deal in economy and you deal in loaning money, and you're good at getting that money back in with interest. Then it becomes all about the money. You don't care what the product is being sold. The product is a service. It's a loan. And so maybe you should go into banking. And so, but most people, that's kind of what they think whenever they first start out. They have these dreams of I'm going to be rich, which stands for fucking rich. I'm going to be amazingly rich. I'm going to go out and I'm going to be really successful, and I'm going to be top of the market, and I'm going to be able to wield power. I'm going to have this sword of power in commerce, and you have these grandiose plans, but they don't work out that way. So a better way to look at it is say, okay, I've got this business degree, or I have this strong desire to be in business for myself. So what do I do? Okay, what do you know? So isn't that a good question? What is it that you know that you are good at? Okay, so let's go back to this whole thing of like I was talking about chairs or whatnot. So maybe you know how to make chairs, and maybe you studied with the Amish and you know how to make them, very well crafted, and people will pay a premium for them and everything. And so, if that is true, then say, okay, is there a marketplace for this? Can I actually, just because you can build a product doesn't mean that anybody wants to buy it. There has to be a demand. And so let's just go down this Amish thing here. The Amish are known for making stuff handcrafted, very high quality, solid wood. It's not veneer. It's not, it's not this crap press board and everything. They're known for using old school techniques for making high quality furniture. And they take and they have a lot of pride in it. The stuff's very heavy, bulky. It's not assembled at the other end typically. It's typically when they ship it out, they ship it out whole. And so, if you take this into account and you say, okay, like I'm in Florida, I think I'm a considerable distance from Amish country. So, maybe if I know these Amish techniques and I can build furniture in this way, and then maybe because of the cost of shipping and everything, I can get it to here. And so maybe there's a marketplace for that locally. Maybe not. But this is kind of the evaluation. Okay, so is Amish furniture being sold here? If there's none being sold here and people are asking for it, you have a niche to fill. If there is some being sold here, but you can undercut in price, or you can make higher quality, or you can make items that are being asked for that are unique, like Game of Thrones chairs, I don't know, then you may have a marketplace. Now, taking this back to the internet, so I guess this would qualify as micromanufacturing, but you still have the shipping cost to go over. So now, okay, so you've kind of identified, okay, hey, I want to be in business, I want to be an entrepreneur, and I want to, I know how to make chairs, and so I'm ready to go forth and do this. Well, it's all about proving the market. Okay, so there is a couple of methods, some of them which are not legal, believe it or not. There is a method that is not legal. I'm going to tell you what that is, and I'm going to tell you why it is. You'll see why I'm explaining this. So the not legal method is to put out there like an advertisement, say, buy this chair, this Game of Thrones Amish-made wooden chair, and $1,500 shipped or whatever. And so you have no idea how you're going to put together this Amish chair that's, looks like Game of Thrones. But you put it out there that these are available for sale. And then you don't even start putting anything together to build it until you've taken orders. And so you've taken people's money. And that's where the illegal part is when you put stuff out there that is vapor. And to where you say, like, hey, I have this stuff for sale, because it's so much harder to get people to buy when you say, hey, if you send us some money, we're going to build this for you. We're going to figure it out, and we're going to build this for you. People don't send money on that. People send money on, hey, you've got this chair? I'm sending you money because I want you to send it to me right away. And so it's actually illegal to do that. But if you can figure out a way that you can gauge whether or not people would be willing to buy based on that, like maybe put down a down payment or something like that, then you can kind of gauge whether or not you have anything on this. So, another thing that's come up recently is 3D printers and everything. There's all kinds of things you can make on that. And I kind of suspect that when this question came in asking, about micromanufacturers, that this is kind of the vein of where it was going. And there's all kinds of things that you can make with the 3D printers. I don't know, I haven't actually investigated that myself, but I've seen a lot of very creative things, and I don't know how much it costs. But that area right now, I think that if you get into it, that the printing technology is going to get cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, and you're going to have to keep advancing in the technology, and your price point's going to get lower and lower and lower, which means your margin gets lower as well. So, okay, around back to the original question, which is, how do I start my business? The very first thing you need is something, a product that you can make, or a service that you can make that is in demand. And so go out there and figure out whether or not what you can do, what you can provide is in demand. If it's not, if nobody wants it, forget it. The other thing is, You do not need to formally set up a business before you start. What I mean by that is you go out there and you test the market. You get some orders, you fill them. Don't pay for the lawyers, don't pay for the company and all of that until you've made enough profit to pay for them. Because when you're under that amount, you qualify as hobby. And you don't need to have a whole bunch of formal stuff in place unless you're dealing in some sort of hazardous materials or something that that is regulated. But if it was something like furniture, that's not regulated. And you can start out selling on eBay, offering it on eBay. You can start out, you can put it on a website. You can do whatever you want. But you do not need to formally organize your business and put it together until you actually have some volume of sales. So make the company pay for its lawyer, its incorporation, and all of that. Don't just spend all your money out of your pocket, because you may find that whatever product you put out there fails, and then all you do is lose money. And so instead of losing money on trying to make that work and having lost the money on all the business stuff, forget it. Just go out there, do some sales, make it pay for itself. So feel free to send me your questions. Down below on YouTube, in the description, is my email address. You can feel free to ask me anything. Well, I don't have to answer anything, but you can feel free to ask me anything. Send me an email with your questions, and it may appear as one of the daily episodes here. So thank you, everybody, and take care.